Thank you.
Okay, I have 7 o'clock. We will call the April 1st DeSoto City Council meeting to order. We'll start with roll call, please.
Daniels,
Here.
Hanamichael,
Here.
Lane,
Here.
Murdoch,
Here.
Ritter.
Here.
Thank you, council. Everyone's present, Mayor.
I would now invite you all to please rise and join me in the Pledge of Allegiance. I pledge
Allegiance to the flag of the United States of America, to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Okay. Our first item tonight is our consent agenda. We have on the consent agenda approval of the minutes from our council meeting of March 18th and approval of pay ordinance number 899. Any discussion of the consent agenda or a motion to approve?
I'll make a motion, we approve the consent agenda.
Second it.
Okay, we have a motion and a second. Any discussion? Roll call, please.
Lane,
Yes.
Ritter,
Yes.
Daniels,
Yes.
Murdoch,
Yes.
Hanamichael. Motion carried. I heard him say yes.
Okay. All right. Item 1.5, approval of pay ordinance 899. Kevin Ritter, were you going to leave the meeting for a minute?
I was on the way.
Okay. We'll note that in the minutes that you have left the meeting. And I would now invite a motion.
I'll make a motion, we approve pay ordinance 899A.
Second?
All right, we have a motion and a second. Any discussion? Roll call, please.
Hanamichael, I think that's a yes.
We didn't, was that a yes, Kevin? We didn't get it.
Yeah.
Yeah,
That
okay,
was a yes.
thanks.
Lane,
Yes.
Daniels,
Yes.
Murdoch.
Yes.
Thank you, council. Motion carried.
Okay. We'll give, unmute Kevin Ritter.
I'm back, sir.
All right, very good. Item 2 is call to public. Members of the public are welcome to use this time to comment about any matter relating to city business not listed on tonight's agenda. The comments that are discussed under call to public may or may not be acted on by the council during this meeting. Anyone wish to address the council tonight?
I'm content, thank you.
Okay, thank you. Thank you for being here.
Yes.
So we will move on. Item 3, old business. Consider 2021 street repair bids.
Thank you, Mayor. It's not very often we have old business, but tonight we certainly do. After council looked at the bids last time, they asked staff to check on Little Joe's references and their abilities to complete the paving projects that we put out to bid. I did speak with Don Bruns from Little Joe's, and of course he assured me that they were very capable and had been doing a lot of work throughout the metropolitan area, and that also sent me a list of references that okay, that I could check on. And I did call some of those, and I also had looked at their webpage, and he didn't list the city of Lansing on his reference list, so I figured I'd call them. But, so I did call their public works director, and they certainly gave some really good reviews as well. And Little Joe's has done an extensive amount of work for Lansing. Don Bruns also pointed out that they're the sub to Lena Weaver on our roundabout, so we'll be working with Little Joe's one way or another. And so all their reference checks, everything came back positive. So I was pretty pleased with the results of the feedback I got from clients. I've also put in the staff report the more detailed bids of all the line items, so you can see that ultimately, Little Joe's won the battle, I guess, of the asphalt overlay work, and Amino Brothers was quite a bit lower on the patching. So when we talked about adding the 3 cul-de-sacs to the project, they really pretty much mimicked the results of the bid process. So Little Joe's actually was slightly higher on when you added the 3 cul-de-sacs, but it wasn't enough of a difference to tilt the entire project one way or away from Little Joe's, as you can see on the Exhibit B in the staff report. So we had some discussion between myself and Mike and Patrick on the best way to proceed, because we do have these really good bids. We don't want to lose those. But we do have these, a fairly significant change order. It's not like we're adding just a little bit. It would be a fairly significant project for DeSoto just to award someone, especially based upon a narrow bid result. So what we have suggested is that we accept Little Joe's bid for the street work as originally intended with a 5% contingency, and then bid the additional 3 cul-de-sacs out as a completely separate project. I think that sort of is a compromise sort of position between awarding the Little Joe's and then also then not wanting to exclude any other contractors who were, in this case, Amino Brothers, that were just missed out by a very narrow margin. It's probably one of the tightest bids I've seen since I've been working here. And it's also been one of the bigger jobs we've bid too. So razor thin margin, but all Little Joe's references checked out, so I don't think we have a legitimate reason to reject them specifically. And as Patrick and Mike have pointed out, we do have the ability to reject them all for no apparent reason, but we can't just reject one for something other than some significant grounds, and we didn't find anything that would disqualify Little Joe's. So with that, I will stand for any questions that council and mayor may have.
I guess I'll start. Appreciate the reference checks and the evaluation of the base and the alternates. I'm a little concerned now about if we're happy with Little Joe's, that I don't know that bidding out again is going to gain us. I'm afraid that we will end up paying significant more, risk paying quite a bit more for that additional work than if we can get these guys to commit to extending their unit prices. Because it will be a smaller project later, a bid later in the maintenance season. So guys are starting to fill in, and so I would be a little concerned about that. And I'm sorry, who are you?
Sorry, I'm Teresa with Little Joe's Asphalt.
Okay.
We were right here and then the bridge was closed, so we had a 20-minute detour.
Okay, well, I appreciate you showing up. Thank you.
Kind of caught the tail end there, but what
Yeah.
your statement that you just made about putting especially cul-de-sacs out for bid later, it could be considerably more.
Yeah, okay. Any from the council, Lori?
So from your comments, are you leaning towards?
I'm leaning
at making
awarding
it a
the whole
change-
project
making a
to
change
Little
order?
Joe. Yeah, with the change order.
I was gonna
right.
say, that was kind of my leaning, was instead of bidding it out, possibly just seeing what the change order would be. Because the other thing, we also want to make sure that we get moving on the streets that are there.
Right.
So I'm open to, and was actually, in reading it, favoring possibly leaning towards seeing what, just adding it as a change order.
Okay. Danny, any thoughts?
I feel the same way. I feel we could go ahead and, go with,
The entire project.
yes.
Kevin, Hanamichael?
Yes, Mayor. Yeah, if I understand correctly, it's approving not just the base bid, but also the additional cul-de-sacs at this time as well. And I support that. I think the other complication of if somebody else were to get cul-de-sacs, the coordination between somebody potentially doing the main line road and somebody separately doing the cul-de-sacs, if they happen to overlap, maintenance of residential traffic and access to homes in that area would be a real problem. So I see there's a lot of benefit, not just from, potentially having increased costs on cul-de-sacs, but coordination of potentially two separate contractors. In that scenario, I think would be problematic. I would advocate going ahead and approving the cul-de-sacs with this, given that it appears we're still going to be under our budget. That's my input.
Now, question, the Exhibit B is just our extrapolation, that's not necessarily a real bid.
That's right.
So the change order would still end up going back to Little Joe's, that'd come back to us for approval at that point.
Yeah, unless you want to give us the authority to approve just the extrapolation, and if there's anything different.
I would do that.
Yeah,
Well,
so-
I did want to point out, I have talked to Little Joe's about this initially, and that is the extrapolation. There would be some slight increases for the additional bonding costs. I mean, I wouldn't expect much, but, and there'd be a little bit more public notification, a little bit more coordination and traffic control. So we're not talking, maybe a few $1,000s, but it would probably be a little bit more than this 78,250 that I've got up there.
Okay.
But couldn't you go ahead and give authority to proceed with the contract up, that is the base bid plus $78,300, and then anything beyond that would be a change order addressed at the next future meeting?
Yeah, no, we're also considering also a contingency in this thing, so it would probably, whatever the difference would be, would still fall within that as well, so.
Yes,
Because
including the contingency.
at that point, we could give authorization for an $80,000 change order for the cul-de-sacs plus the contingency, and then anything else would have to come back to us.
Yeah.
That would work great. I would.
Yeah.
Kevin Ritter, anything to add?
I am in total agreement of them doing the entire project. I agree with Kevin, that it'd be worse to have two contractors out there. I do have one question for staff. Do we have somebody that is gonna be, not watching just this project, but some of the other projects that we have going on this year? I mean, do we have a certain employee that
Yeah,
does, specifications and things and make sure that, we do have boring or compaction testing and all this stuff, or?
we do. So, typical with all of our public improvements, Walter is our capital projects inspector. That's his primary duty. I know a lot of times when we hear about what Walter's up to, it's codes enforcement, but that's a secondary thing that he does. So he'll be busy, yeah. And also in the larger contracts, this one included, we'll have some consulting services for geotech to do that coring and some of those material samplings as well. So that's pretty routine stuff.
Yeah, I just want to, thank you.
Yep.
Okay. I think we're ready for a motion then, if someone would like to do
I'll
that.
go ahead and make a motion that we approve the bid for Little Joe's, the initial bid, with an additional contingency for the cul-de-sacs in the amount of $80,000, and then a 5% contingency for the overall project.
I'll second the motion.
This is Kevin.
So we have a motion by Councilman Hanamichael, motion by, sorry, Rob. Second by Councilman Hanamichael to approve. Landon, do you need any clarification on the motion? Are you good? You get it written
I
down?
can read it back, Mayor, make sure I have it. Thank you.
Okay.
Motion by Councilmember Daniels to approve the bid for Little Joe's with the additional contingency in the amount of $80,000 and a 5% contingency for the cul-de-sacs.
The $80,000 would be for the cul-de-sacs.
80,000 for the cul-de-sac.
And then the 5% is just overall contingency for the project,
Okay, and a 5% contingency for,
the overall project.
I think everybody,
Yes, that's how I understood the motion as well.
okay?
my apologies, thank you for allowing me to
I
read
just-
it back.
Yeah, I want to make sure we had it right in the record, so. I'm pretty sure Brad and Mike understood what we were planning to do, and
Right.
Little Joe's is in the audience, they understood what we want to do, so. Any other discussion of the motion? Not roll call, please.
Lane,
Yes.
Daniels,
Yes.
Hanamichael,
Yes.
Murdoch,
Yes.
Ritter.
Yes.
Thank you, council. Motion carried, Mayor.
Okay.
The question I have, unrelated to the motion, but do they have an order in which they're gonna look at starting that project as far as which subdivision?
We've not gotten that far with those discussions yet. Our
That's
next
a
step is,
pre-construction meeting type stuff, but they're right here, maybe they could answer.
Well, I believe, I'm sorry,
If you could, I'm
Don.
sorry.
Yeah, if you wanna step
You
up
gotta
to
go
the-
for the podium. Otherwise, the people online can't hear you through the microphone.
Don Bruns is our estimator, construction manager, project manager, sorry. So Joe and Teresa are owners of Little Joe's Asphalt, but now that you have added the cul-de-sacs, you would definitely want to concentrate on those being complete first, or with.
Yeah. You basically do the cul-de-sacs first and then do the main lines coming out. And we haven't really got into it that much to make sure which way you're going, because since you've added them cul-de-sacs, we might change our direction on how where we're going to start, just to make sure we can have a good production on this project.
And
I guess
if,
my overall question was the Taylor Court, 84th Circle, 84th Terrace versus the Burr Oaks area.
The Burr Oaks
The
area,
original project.
Yeah, the original project,
the original
as
project.
far as which neighborhood, if there was an intent.
yeah, there's, so, here, up there, here we go, that looks better.
Okay,
Because
yeah.
there were two different neighborhoods.
Is
Yeah.
there a preference on your end?
Only insofar that we've had the residents from Taylor Court and 84th Circle in here requesting that be
Here
done.
you go.
Okay, up on Taylor Court up there. We'll look at that, and if, that's a pretty, both of them are separated, so either one of them will work good for starting. If you guys got a preference, then we can work with you on that, okay?
Work with Mike and Brad.
Yeah.
Your timing to start, or what are you thinking?
What do you got on that?
We could probably
First of
do,
May or middle
first of May
or-
would be good, because also the project was not indexed, so oil is going up continuously.
right.
So it's going to be to our advantage
Sure.
the sooner we get it complete.
Well, we'll work to get you under contract as soon as we can, so you can start as soon as possible and get done as soon as possible.
But
Okay.
tentatively now, I think May 1st might
Okay.
work.
All right?
All right, I appreciate it.
Thank you.
Thank you, guys.
Thank you very much.
Teresa, is this yours? Teresa?
Yes. Or no?
All right, we'll move on then. Item 4, new business. Number 8, consider temporary use permit for downtown spring event.
all right, thank you, Mayor and Council. Annabelle Sanchez has put together this application for a temporary use permit for a downtown spring event. She owns or operates a gift shop, I guess, between KJ's Pizza and Dean Weller's Garage. And she's pretty excited about wanting to get this project going. She's pretty disappointed when we missed the last council meeting, but explained to her at that point we were still in this, didn't have any idea what the state was going to do on COVID restrictions through this time frame, and we wanted to have a little bit of clarity, even though I don't know that we've officially got it, even though tomorrow is supposed to be a different approach, or it's not quite as restrictive. However, the Downtown Merchants did have an event planned last fall, and it got canceled. And while this is not going to be a similar thing, they're going to have some of those events. I think they're going to have that cornhole tournament and some things like that. But they do want to block off the street, and as this is the first step in getting back to normality in the post-COVID world. And so they went through the whole process, and I walked her through and talked to her about all the items that we would be expecting. And really all we need to do on city staff level is to provide the barricades, and which we've typically done in the past. And they said, or Annabelle said she would certainly has talked to the sheriff's department, the fire department about what they want to do. It's not really going to be a huge event, but it's something that I think is more of a, let's get something going again. Let's get our life back to normal type thing. She also had stressed that a lot of people are now starting to get booked as far as events, and, the bouncy things and all the toys are, other communities are starting to do these things as well. So she's really looking forward to having this project going as I think all the other downtown merchants are. A lot of times we put these temporary use permits on a consent agenda, but we felt it's pretty important that the council's aware that this is going on, and it's pretty important that you understand that, we're still at the tail end of the pandemic, but we're still in it. They are going to have sanitation hand stations and things like that, which is sort of a new requirement, which might be a good thing to continue into the future, regardless of our overall health situation. So really, it's a pre-COVID, this would have been a no-brainer, but post-COVID or in the middle of the COVID, I think it's just important to bring the council's attention and know that we're working with the downtown merchants and that this is going to happen, or they'd like to see it happen, and would like to certainly have the council's unanimous blessing on moving forward with an event of this type.
Okay. Questions or comments from council? Concerns? Danny?
No, thank you.
Rob? Lori?
No, not really. I had talked to Annabelle about this a while back because of the fact that the Rotary had been planning on doing one last fall, or whenever that was, summer, spring, whenever it was,
I know
with them. I kind of lost track of when that was, but, and I know we tried to get together on this. I've mentioned it to the Rotary Club, and I kind of got taken away for a few weeks, so I'm not sure where we're at with the Rotary Club, other than that we, as a Rotary Club, when we were doing our original one, had like a animal petting zoo, and that's not available to bring at the same time as this, so I don't think we've really talked about it a whole lot, but so,
I think
as
they
far as.
talked about adding the cornhole tournament to it and things like
Yeah.
that.
Yeah, and then last meeting, I know we weren't really talking about the cornhole tournament, but I think Annabelle has like 20 vendors, or quite a few vendors that, just before Christmas, she had 5 or 6 set up, and they were just set right in front of her store. And it was quite busy and kind of congested, and so that's why I think she would like to be able to shut the street down so she can spread these vendors out, because she has quite a few of them. And, like I said, it's just a way to bring some people downtown and get out and go shopping and spend some money, so.
Yeah.
So I'm all for it. I think it's fine.
Kevin? Conamike?
No, I'm good.
Okay.
I'm good.
Kevin Ritter?
I'm good as well.
All right, someone want to make a motion then?
Yeah, I'll make a motion. We approve the temporary use permit for the event on May 1st.
Okay.
Second?
We have a motion and a second to approve the temporary use permit. Any discussion of the motion? Roll call, please.
Hannah Michael,
Yes.
Lane,
Yes.
Ritter,
Yes.
Daniels,
Yes.
Murdoch.
Yes.
Thank you, council. Motion carried.
Okay.
All right.
Item 4B, consider lease agreement for new vacuum unit for the water department.
Yes, council, this is the second and final acquisition for 2021 with our equipment replacement program.
Is this COVID money now?
This is not COVID money,
Okay,
no.
good.
We can have a separate discussion about COVID money, but this is not. The previous acquisition was a dump truck for the street department. We actually approved that here in November so we could get a jump on acquisition, and so that's in the process. Hope to have that delivered here in the next couple months. But this would be a lease purchase arrangement for this vac unit. Essentially, it's a trailer unit. I'm just going to buzz down here to the picture. It says 1,000 words. We have a similar unit that the water department uses quite often. A lot of times they're vacuuming the dirt and debris out of valve stems. They get packed with debris. But then also they'll locate water lines or excavate during breaks and stuff. It's a very useful tool. Use it quite a bit. It's aging, and we will age it out of the system. Probably sell that on Purple Wave. Should get some decent recuperation of value there. This is a newer unit. It's a little bit larger than the one we currently have. The tube is a little larger. Should be even more useful to us. The manufacturer is Vermeer. That's the manufacturer of our existing unit. Marshall spec'd it out and went to Vermeer to make sure that it was what we wanted. And Vermeer is actually the low vendor on the Sourcewell contract through Mid-America Regional Council. So as with a lot of these others, we don't have to put that out for bid. It's a competitive bidding situation, and they extend those prices to us. So we'd like your approval. We do have the proposed lease is a 5-year lease with annual payments of $16,997 that come out of the water department budget. The only caveat is Patrick hasn't had a chance to go through. We just haven't seen the lease documents. Vermeer wants kind of approval or sort of a purchase order sort of thing before they enter the leasing process. So we ask for your approval that subject to Patrick's review of the lease documents.
Okay. Questions for Mike on the back sheet? Hearing none, would someone like to make a motion?
I'll make a motion, we approve the lease proposal from NCL Government Capital in the amount of $16,997.16, subject to the legal review by the city attorney.
I'll second that.
Okay, we have a motion and a second. Any discussion? Roll call, please.
Ritter,
Yes.
Daniels,
Yes.
Michael,
Yes.
Lane,
Yes.
Murdoch.
Yes.
Thank you, council. Motion carried.
Okay. Item 4C, consider resolution authorizing DeSoto's 5-year county assistance road system program application for 2022 to 2026.
Yes, council, this is an annual event for us. You know that we've been able to take advantage of CARS funding for the upcoming roundabout project. There have been several others over the years that we can that have supplemented our capital improvements program. And what CARS asks is that for projects that are proposed to be funded the following year, they want detailed information on, they want a stronger commitment that you're actually going to do the project. They want specific cost estimates for those. They want to make sure the money they're budgeting for now that will be spent next year is relatively certain. But they also ask for a 5-year projection so that they can plan their program just like we do with our 5-year projections. So each year we give them that 5-year projection. And this year in our capital improvement plan, you know, we have this placeholder for the next several years. There's a little bit of money coming out each year for a placeholder project that is in support, utility extensions in support of economic development for the Southwest Area Plan, and that's a little over $2.3 million in the CIP. Along with that, we placed a $500,000 revenue in 2024 from the CARS program, with the thought that something we do out there in that area is going to be eligible for CARS funding. So with that, I thought it was appropriate that we get our application, the 5-year projection, into the county so that they can plan for that revenue stream, even though it's not officially approved until the year before it's allocated. So what I did is relatively arbitrarily, lined out a project for the upgrade of 95th Street between Lexington and Sunflower Road as the project that we submit with our plan. Put together a rough cost estimate of projects. I think that's gonna be around $2.5 million. The concept would be, it's kind of a collector industrial sort of standard road, very similar to 91st Street extension that we did a couple years ago. That sort of width with sidewalks and curbs and streetlights and things like that. CARS funding would fund half of the construction, so it would be eligible, for quite a bit of CARS, half, a little over $1 million. In the funding request, I'm putting $1 million in there, just as a future request for this. With the CARS program, it is competitive, but there's a policy, standard policy, that any particular city should get its proportionate share over a 5-year period. Actually, more specifically, each city, based on population and the allocation of the entire funding available, should get at least 80% of their fair share over a 5-year period. They call that the 80% rule. Right now, because of the roundabout project and there's something else we did. We had CARS money that's still on the books.
91st Street.
91st Street.
Well, yeah, 91st Street. Duh. That was it. 91st Street. We're at about 170% right now. But the window of time they look at three years in the future, the current year, and 1 year in the past. So the 91st Street stuff will roll off next year. So we'll be back down to somewhere around 65% or so. We'll be back down under that 80%. I guess all that is to just explain that if you're over the 80%, then those funds that are over 80% are allocated on a competitive basis. We might not get 100,000, but that's the application. And again, it's just for their future planning needs. These can change. The folks down at the county know that they can change. We had CARS allocations for 83rd Street bike lanes for years, and those changed 4 or 5 times over the course of that. So that's understood. But there is a resolution that they ask the governing body to pass, just acknowledging that, yeah, we know we're submitting for this, and there's an intention to make use of the funding. So. This is due, everything is due by the end of April to the CARS program. So if you don't want to proceed this way, if you want to do something else with a different project or some other idea, we do have another meeting, we can do that. But I think just for my own purposes, this is probably a good enough placeholder to at least get us on the list. And it's 2024 funding, so we have another couple of years before we have to solidify that.
Questions for Mike?
I don't think I have any.
Mayor, I have a question, if I could maybe make a comment for Mike on the application.
Go ahead, Kevin.
On the letter, third paragraph down, that sentence, right in there, where you say, we've included the 95th Street project in our 5-year CIP, and so on. Well, really, I think I would phrase that to say something like the 95th Street project is a key component of the infrastructure package that we have included in our CIP. And at that point, I would also reiterate to support significant economic development opportunities that have been actively working in this area or something to that effect. But you really can't say that's in there. I would say the 95th Street project is a significant component of that CIP package, maybe, something to the effect that, for which the city is intending to make a significant investment. And then even, whether it's in the letter or in the form, Mike, you would know some, and Mayor, you may know as well, in terms of that competitive part of it and how we position this, with the scoring system, let's be sure and look at what they're looking for in the scoring system and be sure we highlight those points and not just describe a, 3, collector class road with 3 12-foot lanes, but, that we hit on some hot buttons that they're looking for in their scoring system.
Good points.
Have you seen, I have never seen the scoring criteria for the competitive pool.
Yeah, there is. Yeah, it's in their policy documents. Yeah, it's there.
Yeah, I didn't get a chance to look it up before this meeting, or else I would have added some more substantial comments, but Mike, I'll just say that's your job to, to look at that and be sure to position both the letter and the application accordingly. Obviously, I'm very much in favor of this. Let's be in it to win it.
All right. Anyone else? Okay.
Resolution number 1044.
I'll make a motion to approve resolution number 1044, approving a application for a 5-year City County Street Improvement Program CARS application. Second.
We have a motion and a second. Any discussion? Roll call, please.
Daniels,
Yes.
Lane,
Yes.
Murdoch,
Yes.
Ritter,
Yes.
Hanamichael.
Yes.
Thank you, council. Motion carried.
Okay. Item 5, executive session, no items.
No items.
All right. Item 6, advisory report, city administrator.
Council, I just had one thing relating to scheduling. We talked about an event coming up downtown. And as you know, we're sort of in this COVID transition period. We do internally have had some discussions about our events, the ones that the city puts on, so mostly 4th of July and the summer concert series. We've, at least initially, our thinking right now is that the 4th of July event, we're planning to have it as we normally did every year with a big fireworks show and vendors and things like that, on the assumption that the COVID restrictions will be to a point where we can do that at that point. And then that would kick off the summer concert series, which all 4 concerts would happen in July and August and maybe into September. That also gives us an opportunity to work one of those concerts in with the DeSoto Days. Remember last year we talked about doing that as well with them in conjunction with them. DeSoto Days committee, Rhonda Patterson reached out to us last week, and they're planning for an event like normal. So just kind of wanted to let you know if you're wondering about that sort of, that's where our head is on it. If you have any other thoughts about that, we're happy to hear those and discuss through some of those, but that's kind of where we are right now in the event planning area.
Any thoughts from council? No? I'm in that same.
I was gonna say, the fireworks, does that carry over from last year as far as?
Yeah,
We pre-purchased those.
Yeah, we basically.
We did. We gave a deposit last year.
Yeah, so that's pretty much right.
It's nailed down, yeah.
Yep.
It's bands, performers, things like that, and
Yeah.
none of, I mean, the bands aren't busy yet.
The band, I confirmed the band for 4th of July that we've always had.
Okay, yeah.
So I'm just kind of holding out on the vendors, seeing where we are as far as restrictions.
Right.
So, I'm ready to go as soon as we're ready to go.
Good. Well, and then speaking of events, we, Steve Chick's retirement event was last night. That went off great. Got him kicked out the door. Half expected him to be here this morning anyway, but he didn't show up, so I guess he really is.
Well,
Guess
his
he
son
really
was
is.
being sworn in as the new fire chief.
Was that today?
Yeah,
Oh,
this
that's
morning.
right. That's
why
right.
Mandy was home for both.
Wow, that's quite a coincidence. So we just have one more retirement party to be planning, so Whitney will be starting on that. Got to nail down a date sometime soon.
Okay,
And that was it.
all right. City attorney, Patrick, what's?
Yeah, council, I emailed out the Ann O'Brien, who were under contract to purchase the park land. They just ran into some issues getting the legal documents filed. They are now officially in the mode of getting filed, but they've asked for a 90-day extension. So I prepared one, emailed it. to you, but essentially it just extends the purchase contract for 90 days, so that within 90 days we'll do that closing. So,
Okay. Any issues from council with that extension?
No.
Not seeing any, so we need a motion to, or just,
Aye.
all right.
as long as everybody's good
Consensus?
with it, I'll sign off on
All
it.
right,
Go from there.
good enough. Anything else, Patrick?
That's it.
Okay. Brad?
Nothing to report this time, Mayor. Thank you.
Okay. City Clerk, Lana, what do you got?
I have nothing this evening, Mayor, thank you.
All right. Council comments. Kevin Ritter.
I have nothing for tonight, Mayor, thank you.
All right. Kevin Hanemichael.
Yes, Mayor, I think I'd just like to report from the EDC Advisory Council that there's a lot of good economic development opportunity, that's just looking at this area, that's looking at, locations around DeSoto. So there's a lot of good activity that's going on within the EDC. You know, we've got some new members on the advisory council, not terribly new now, it's been, close to a year or something like that since they've been on, but some good connections, good industry connections, good thoughts, and frankly, I think good accountability. When you've got some good people on there, they're wanting to make sure that the organization's making progress and generating some activities, so that's pretty good. Also, just want to give a shout out, I think Carol Gardner's doing a great job as chairperson of the EDC Advisory Council and running a tight ship and keeping things going. There was a Department of Commerce gave a presentation yesterday or the day before with the Department of Commerce, and we heard about the state's programs, and I can tell you there's a lot of really good activity occurring between the EDC and the Department of Commerce in Kansas. So just some really good positive stuff out of the EDC.
Okay. Thank you, Kevin. Lori?
I don't have anything, Mayor, thank you.
Rob?
Nothing tonight?
Danny?
Nothing, Mayor, thank you.
All right. Gosh, I don't think I have anything either.
Surely something.
Oh,
Yeah, it could be a record time here.
no.
I'll make a motion, we adjourn.
All right, we have a motion and a second to adjourn. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? All right, we are adjourned.
See you, everybody.
This conference is no longer being recorded.